Okay, so this video is about helping you survive this next recession that's coming up. And not only survive, but actually you can make a lot of money. And you can do that pretty quickly too. And I can show you how all that's done. And also tell you that this is probably going to be a one in a lifetime opportunity. So the reason why I say that is because the markets take a while to go up. This is the Dow Jones here. And in 2008, after the market crashed, it took this long to get up here. And if this market is going where a lot of these people that I know of have been trading for 34 years, even longer, believe that it's going to come all the way back down to here, that's all going to happen within 2 years, probably a year and a half. And you can make some pretty good money on this. There's going to be a lot of people losing money, unfortunately, because you're going to see more bank failures. You're going to see pension funds disappear, people losing their homes, and that's unfortunate. But it's one of the reasons why I'm making these videos, to make people aware of how these markets work and how to prepare for the next recession or even depression. They're talking about a depression coming up. So it's kind of hard to go into everything that's going on, but basically these markets are cyclical, and whatever comes up, whatever goes up goes down. So you can see, like in 2000, the market came all the way up, and a lot of people are familiar with 2000 crash, and it came down, and I think it retraced about 50%. Then it came up in 2008 and it came down, and all this looks really small compared to this. Now, not only is this a really big run as far as the height, how high it's gone, but it's also the longest bull market in history. So as you know, all markets have to have a correction. And so far this didn't have a correction. This had a little one here, and well, actually it's a pretty good size correction. That was the pandemic. And then this thing went almost parabolic up to here. So now this thing's got to come down because we didn't really have a recession here, you know, little mini ones right here. But we're looking for a pretty good size recession, at least like 2008. And so this market's got to come way down here. If that happens, it's going to wipe out a lot of people. So hopefully I can help some people to pay attention on what's going to happen, so they don't lose their house, they don't lose their pensions, they don't lose the money in their banks. Because I remember 2008 and I remember 2000. I've been trading for 24 years. And it was pretty devastating. I even had a client back in 2008, and I told him to get out of his real estate investments, and he didn't. He wanted to hang on a little bit longer, and turns out he lost everything. And it's kind of a sad story because he ended up committing suicide, and he was in his 40s. And there's a lot of people that actually did that, committed suicide during that time, 2000, and the corrections before that. Now, it's wise for most people to really pay attention to what's going on in the markets, because this is your livelihood, you know, the money that you have invested. So you got to realize that everybody's invested in the stock market. If you have money in your pension, if you have money in the bank, just sitting in the bank, and if you're invested in this, you're invested in CDs, whatever it is, all that money eventually winds up in the stock market. So you're always going to be invested in the stock market. Stock market goes down, and it wipes all that out. And that's why you get wiped out, because you give the money to the bank, and the bank takes that money and invests it. So, okay, so we're due for a big crash. Now, some people are saying that this is going to be equivalent to 1929 or worse, and that's possible. Now, if that happens, it's, like I said, it's going to wipe out a lot of people. But for you, if you learn how to invest and trade, you watch my videos, you're going to come out looking pretty good, actually making some pretty good money, because like I said, these markets go down a lot faster. It only takes a couple of years to go down and 10 to 15 years to go up. And while it goes down, it's very volatile. And since I trade options, options become increasingly valuable. I mean, the value on those things go up tremendously on volatility. Okay, so I'm going to bring you into a chart, some more current. All right, so this is a daily chart. So you can see here when the pandemic hit and the market went straight up. So anytime anything comes down that big, it always comes back up. And if you look at my videos, you'll see what I'm talking about and how these patterns actually work. And there's a lot of consistency to these, and I can teach you all about that, and that's how you can trade these markets, because when you find these consistent patterns in these markets, you can trade them. So I want to point out a couple things. One, this is actually a good thing to get involved in, because this is going to be your own business. You can play it any way you want. I teach both how to invest longer term. You know, I am a swing trader, which I'm in for a couple weeks, and I'm also a day trader. So you'll have those options there. Now, if you're a swing trader, you're in for a couple weeks, maybe even a month or two, then you can put in a couple trades and pretty much walk away. And that's and you can make at least as much as what you're making at your job and still have 10 times the freedom, because nobody can fire you from your job. So these markets are constantly moving. They never stop. They're constantly moving. And each day, almost every day, you have an opportunity to trade. But definitely there's opportunities in here where you can make some pretty good money easily. All right, so this is the crash in 1932, and or 1932 is when it actually hit bottom. It started in 1929. I think took almost 2.5 years to hit bottom, and finally when it hit bottom, look what it did. It went straight back up, and it came down and came up. So what that means is the market's always moving. It never flatlines, and as long as it does that, there's opportunity to make money. And the people in 1932 that knew all about the stuff that I'm telling you about, they made money. They made actually millions of dollars. And so you can do that too. I'm not saying that you can make millions. You can, but you know, if you can at least make as much as you are at your current job, or maybe double that or triple that, still have some freedom to do other stuff and buy what you want, then I think that's a pretty big benefit right there. And on top of that, you can't get fired from your job. And this job is ongoing. As long as there's a stock market, you're going to make money. Okay, so here's the 2008 crash. There's a top, came down, stretched it out for, I guess, a little over a year. So I think it took 1.5 years for this whole thing to play out. And it hit bottom, and right away it started coming up, went down, tested the bottom, and then it went up. Just kept going after that all the way until what we see now. So again, these markets are constantly moving, and you can always make money trading these markets. Okay, so we're back. Here's the Dow, and this is where we're at now. The market came up and it came down. It's right here today. It did a really nice move down, and I believe this is going to continue down to here. Now I think this is probably going to happen either by the end of this month. It should be down here, or it might take another 2 weeks for it to hit bottom. At least that's what I believe that's going to happen, because we are technically in a bear market, and this market's got to go down. I can't tell you what kind of problems that the economy has out there all over the world. I mean, we've never had these extremes ever in history, and so it's such an extreme that eventually all this has a washout, and then start all over again. That's just part of the cycle. There's no way around that. It's got to do that. That said, I can teach you how to trade these markets to where you will be fine during that downturn, and not only be fine, but you can actually make some really good money. So let's get into that. So I trade the spiders, which is the SPYs right here, and that piggybacks on the S&P. It's an ETF, and I buy options, so I trade options on this. And if you watch my daily videos, I'll show you exactly what I'm doing, and even some entry points and exit points, and what I do. And I make it sound really easy because actually it can be easy. You just got to have some patience. Anyway, so let's zero in on this right here. And this is where the market's at right now. It's starting to come down, and I believe again sometime in maybe right about here this market should hit bottom, and we'll see. I mean, if it doesn't and it does come back up, it's just going to postpone it, but eventually it's going to hit bottom. And there's several ways of trading this, and one is longer term, you just sit and wait, and then the other one would be you can day trade, and then you can swing trade. If you think this market's going to be at a certain point in a couple weeks, then that's where you would put your money. So again, if you watch my videos, I pay attention to all of that, and I show you what's going on all those time frames, on a day trade, on a swing trade, and even longer term than that. Okay, as you can see, I don't have any indicators here. I don't have volume. I don't have all that fancy stuff. I don't even have candles because I don't need that. These charts are telling me everything. Even if I didn't watch the news, which I don't, I'll just watch it either for amusement or just to talk about how this market can go up on bad news and come down on good news. So for me, the news doesn't mean anything. I look at these charts, and because I've been looking at them for 24 years, it develops these patterns that I can see, and I can pretty much tell. I'm pretty much 90% accurate on market direction. But like I said in my other videos, you can be right about the direction of the market and still lose money. So there's more to it than that. I can't really discuss that in this video because the video would be too long for that. And I have other videos that I talk about, and plus my daily videos, you'll see what I'm talking about. I mention all of that in there. Okay, so why do I trade SPYs or spiders? The reason why I trade that is because this ETF is on the top of this list right here. It's top 25 volume leaders, top $25 volume leaders. And this is most traded ETFs. And spiders at the top. And so it has a lot of volume. It also has a lot of volatility right now. So what does that mean? That means that I can get in and out of the market at any moment. Even if I was day trading and the option was expiring that day, even that last hour, half hour, I can still get in and out without a problem. If you start trading these other ETFs, there might not be enough volume there in open interest to where if you get in, you might not be able to get out, or you might not even be able to get in. So that's why I trade the spiders. I've never had a problem getting in and out whenever I wanted to. Also, that's all I trade. I don't trade stocks. I don't trade anything else, because when you start getting into all of that, then you're going to have to do, a lot of these people do market analysis, and it just gets really complicated. And why would I do that? I can just trade this one right here. And the way these markets work is if I can be consistent at making $100 a day, let's say, or $500 a week, I can double that by just pushing a button. All I do is add positions. So yeah, you can make $50,000 a month, and that's the same as making $500 a month. The only difference is you just add more positions. So why would I not trade this? Why would I go into different charts and look at different charts and do the analysis and check out the ups and downs and look at the volume and the EMA? You don't need all of that stuff. You just trade one ETF and you got it made. You can make as much money as you want, and it makes it so easy. You've got all that extra free time. And I don't know why anybody else isn't talking about this. I think what's happening is maybe they just get so involved in all the bells and whistles. And I saw the same thing in 2007, where everybody just gets so crazy about what's going on, and it just, they end up losing. 95% of the people lose. So I had a couple mentors. I started back in 1998, and I started trading in 1999. And these mentors, they've been trading for 30, 40, 50 years. They did not use all those indicators. Some of them used some indicators, maybe one, maybe two. But they kept everything really plain. They didn't use a bunch of screens. They all use one screen like I do. And in fact, I remember this guy because I started off with commodities, trading futures, and all he traded was gold. And he just loved gold, and he would just write about it, and that's all he traded. And he made millions. The guy was a multimillionaire back then. So yeah, you can just trade one ETF, or even if you picked a stock. I don't know if it would work with stocks, but an ETF like the spiders, and you can make just as much money as all those people that are spending so much time, just doing all that analyzing and spending 8 hours, maybe even 10 hours a day. It's crazy. And you can trade this one, and pretty much, like I said, if you go in longer term, like if you think this market's going to wind up here and you buy here, and you just sit on it and wait for it to come down, you don't have to do very much. Maybe check on it every day and just look at it. Make sure it doesn't come up above here so you don't lose your money. And then you can make a decent amount of money, more than what you're making at your job, that's for sure. So if you do this, you're going to be way ahead of everybody else. And I remember in 2007, there was so many people lost their homes. They lost so much. And the reason for that is nobody's paying attention. There's a clip from one of the movies that I like. It's called The Big Short. In fact, I'll play that piece for you right now. This is my favorite part about how nobody's paying attention.
You're saying that at 8% the bonds fail, and we are already at 4%?
That's right.
If they go to 8, it's Armageddon.
Yeah, that's right.
How come nobody's talking about this?
And no one's paying attention. No one is paying attention.
Okay, so in that clip, he's actually right about that. It's like, why is there a real estate bubble and nobody's talking about it? Because nobody's paying attention. Everybody's working, everybody's spending their money, they're buying boats, they're buying cars. They're not paying attention to what's really going on in the market. And it's the same thing with this, is you have to pay attention to what's happening now, because this is a once in a lifetime. If this is going to be like 1929, you're not going to see this in your lifetime ever again. Because these cycles, this one here, if this is like 1929, it happens every 80 to 100 years. So when's the next time you're going to see that? You're not. Your kids will, or whoever, grandkids. But it's a one in a lifetime. You don't want to lose your money, and you want to make money. And maybe hopefully you can help somebody or even help the family. If you're making money and let's say your son or your daughter loses their job, you can help them out. And you're going to be glad you did. Otherwise, in 2-3 years, you're going to not be in a very good place, and you're going to be pretty sad and wishing that you would have paid attention. So I can make a whole other video on what paying attention means and how the system actually works and how the system is actually made. I'm not saying that it's anything sinister or devious, but basically what the markets are trying to do, the banks, the feds, they're trying to take your money because if they get your money, then they get to keep it, and then they get to buy what they want. Basically, that's really what it is. So, and it happens all the time in every correction. 2008 was the same way. And if you started to do some research and some digging, you'll find out how the economies actually really work. So like I said, I'm not going to go into that because that would just take too long, and you don't need to hear that. You can go online and look it up yourself, or you can trust that, you know, these markets are ready to correct in a big way like they've never done before. And then you can save yourself, you can help yourself, and then you can help your family. So, okay, so if you watch my daily videos, because I'm not gonna talk about how I enter the market here. If you watch the daily videos, you'll see how I get in. I tell you when I get in and when I get out. Now, it's not live trading. It is live trading as far as the charts are live when I'm talking. It's during trading hours. But sometimes I'll get in right before I start making a video, or I'll pause the video and I'll get in and I'll tell you that's where I got in. But the only thing is that by the time I edit the video and put it out, it's several hours later and sometimes after the market closes, and then you can't follow exactly what I'm doing. But I will let you know that maybe even sometimes the day before, here you can get in this position to go long. As far as day trading, I can't do that because that's going to happen right at that moment. But for longer term trading, you can still do it. There's still time to get in. Okay, so in summary, this is the largest bull market in history. It's due for a correction, and that's what's happening right now. And it's possible that we're looking at another 1929 crash, even bigger than that. Some people think that it's going to make 1929 look like a walk in a park, and that's possible, but it doesn't matter to you, because if you learn how to trade, you're going to make, the more extreme it is, the more money you can make. And like I said, I can't go into it, but there's been some bank failures. I know the feds and even Biden said that everything's safe. It's not safe. It's far from safe. They just don't want you running to the banks and pulling your money out, because then you're going to see these markets really go down fast and hard. So I understand what they're doing, but I would basically, whatever they say is just the opposite. You know, they tell you inflation is only at whatever they're saying, 6, 7, 8%. It's a lot higher than that. Unemployment's higher. I mean, there's so many things. I would not believe the government reports at all. They're trying to keep you from panicking. I got that. But at the same time, you know, there's always a delayed reaction because they don't tell you the truth. So sometimes it takes a year, and by the time the market crashes, it's already too late. You lost your house, you lost your job, you lost your pension, retirement, everything just goes. It doesn't hit everybody, but it hits most people. And then we have inflation. You know, we have a lot of things that are going on right now that are getting worse by the day. The government knows about it. They know that they can't do anything about it. They know that these markets are going to crash. And the only thing that they can do now is prevent you from panicking and getting out of the market and pulling your money out of the bank, buying gold and doing all kinds of stuff. They don't want you doing that because they don't want to create a panic. I got that. Anyway, that's what this video is about, is just to so you do pay attention, so you're not going to be one of those victims. And like I said, you can make money. You don't have to make millions. You know, if you want to make $100,000 a year, or even 50, it's whatever you want to make. There's no limit to what you can make here. It's that easy. I've had businesses in the past where they're brick and mortar, where I had to start them up, spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, buy inventory, buy vehicles, hire employees, salesmen, and then 5 years later it went under and I lost everything. I was in debt, hundreds of thousands of dollars. With this, you can't lose anything. I mean, of course, you can lose your money. If you invest 5,000, you'll lose 5,000. But believe me, $5,000 is nothing starting a business. It's really a tiny amount. I'd spend hundreds of thousands and hundreds or thousands of hours working on it. With this, you don't have to do that. This is very, very simple. So I'm going to do the best that I can to teach you. I have 24 years experience, started in 1998. I traded just about everything. I traded futures, I traded bonds, I traded currencies, I traded cattle, I traded oats, soybeans, copper, gold, stocks, ETFs. I think I've traded everything except for Forex, which is currencies. And I've traded currencies. I've traded the dollar. I traded the mark. I've traded the Swiss franc. I traded all those, you know. So I'm not saying that I know everything, because I don't. But I've got 24 years experience. I can at least help you, maybe, you know, keep you from losing everything. At the very minimum, at least keep you informed on what's going on in the economy, so this way you can maybe prevent from losing your home. Or maybe you're going to pull your money out early enough and put it somewhere else, maybe in a trading account, and so you won't lose it. Your bank goes under and then you still have it. Same with your pension. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you want to learn how to trade as far as day trade and swing trade and longer term trade, and how to buy and sell options when you're trading, then you just look at my daily videos and I'll show you how I do that. And yep, and that's it. Okay, that's the end of this video.